We're now going to move to talk about a proposal we just want to share with you. It's an idea, and we're hoping we might be able to get it up and running in 2023, and that's a Commonwealth art competition. So we're just going to welcome Benjamin from Singapore, and also Hemal joining us from the MOHAN Foundation in India. But we thought we'd start with Ben. Are you happy to share some of what Singapore has been doing with art competitions? Because we just want to excite you about the possibility of running something, and maybe, just maybe, this time next year, Commonwealth Day next year, we'll be able to announce some winners.
Thanks, Dale, for the introduction and just being excited and in hearing about the forum, the discussion. I mean, we are all talking quite similarly about engaging the youth, engaging to start that conversation. Yep. So I think in Singapore we have been quite similar to that. We want to engage the youth as well because we know it's very important to talk about it. All right. So and we know, all of us as organ transplant professionals, we know that conversation is an important one. Unfortunately, youths are not engaged in that conversation, not predominantly engaged. It is not their primary focus. And we've tried to incorporate and work with the schools, for example. We know about Australia, the Donate Life. We've been having curriculums for schools. And we try, and we look at Singapore, we look at the environment that we have here in Singapore, and we see that it's actually very competitive. We have the Singapore Youth Festival, we have the Yellow Region Project, which is about a prison, unlocking a second prison. We have total defense, firefighting, and all these gets incorporated into the school curriculum. And in the face of all these issues that are equally important, how does organ donation stand out? And we've also looked at competitions. We look at how competitions attract people, and you see we have a postcard design competition with our National Kidney Foundation. Our Ministry of Education has been holding our school, our stories photo contest, and in fact in Singapore, schools participate in the Queen's Commonwealth Essay competition every year. So again, within the competition arena, it is already quite a big fight. So how do we make organ donation itself stand out is really quite a challenge for us. And so we've actually developed over the years Live On Festival. So as part of the festival, we have a design and essay component. So design competition, we get students, general public to design the artwork about organ donation for tote bags. So the top winners will actually get their artworks printed onto tote bags. And likewise, essay, we give them the topics, they write about it, and then later on we publish them. All right. So this is the main thrust of the festival, the competition. But essentially, anybody can hold a competition. But what is really important and the foundation of it is the workshop. We hold an organ donation workshop to schools, and this is aligned to the school curriculum. We have citizenship and character education segments, art, English, and science. So it aligns to all this. And for teachers, it becomes an easy tool to adopt because I teach all this in class, but organ donation now becomes a tool, a lens for the students to interpret their world, to explore and to flex their muscles apart from the theoretical knowledge that they learn in the classroom. They can now apply in a complex and real world situation. And so we've been conducting organ donation workshops in big cohorts as assembly slots where we have thousands of students, or even in small group settings like this in classrooms. But importantly, at the end of it, it must be proper prizes must be awarded. And so here you see two of the past winning artworks where students actually conceptualize, how donors actually heal and repair a kidney, for example. And on the right, you see how organ donation is portrayed as a passport to a new beginning, where you see the bottom is dull and dark, and the top is very lively. And so these excellent artworks are then awarded at the award ceremony. And here you see a guest of honor, our Minister of State for Education, presenting the prizes. But right in the middle picture, we see a student going and attending the ceremony with their parents. So earlier on, I think we mentioned a little bit about how to have that conversation. Here we have students, young students, bringing their parents along for a award ceremony and having that conversation with their parents on that spot, right? So we are actually making them talk, discuss about it, not just for the workshop, which is a 1 hour session, but in so many points of interaction, they have multiple opportunities to showcase or to talk about organ donation. And this is where we want, we have been pushing so that people can actually have that conversation, or plentiful opportunities to think about it. And apart from the award ceremony, we do, we maximize the artworks because they are so wonderfully created. We actually bring them to hospitals. We have roving exhibitions across most of our public hospitals. We bring them to libraries where the community gets to see the artwork. They get to see how good it is. And hopefully they wonder, what is this artwork about? And hopefully they will spontaneously do their own research about organ donation. So over the years, we've started in 2018. We've worked with 4 schools. We have some entries received, and about 1,600 students attended the talks. That was our pilot testing. Over the years, we have gradual inquiries to 12 schools, but then COVID struck, right? So we always talk about COVID and the barriers it has. So we were wondering, 4 schools 2018, 12 schools 2019, what will 2020 bring? And so we know that there's always a risk of issues going up and down and all that. Adoption, but we have to rapidly adapt to the online curriculum. Schools were closed physically, but they shifted engagement online over to Zoom platform. And likewise, we adopted online curriculum quickly. And 2020, we had a huge jump to 52 schools, and where we conducted what previously lessons were physical, now we had it online, and we had students joining in from the classrooms, and over 3,800 students attended the talks in 2020. We also shifted our award ceremony online, where we have the guests of honor do the presentation online. And interestingly, we observed that even though we've only conducted workshops in 48 schools, but due to word of mouth, 52 schools actually participated. So that 4 extra schools came by word of mouth from students, their siblings of participating schools, right? 2021, we saw a sustained increase all the way to 89 schools, which actually represents about 65% of all secondary schools in Singapore. And we had 7,600 students attending these talks. These are the students who have listened to our organization talk about organ donation for 1 full hour, and of these, we had about 230 teachers who attended. And it is very important because the teachers' attendance hears about organ donation, dispel myths, reinforces positive messages, and they themselves hear that organ donation is aligned to their values. And as a result of it, they can increase in their reach. In this Live On Festival, year on year, it's a cycle, positive reinforcement cycles. This is good. I want my students to attend it next year. Let's go on, and it comes on and on again. Last year, we had, again, an increase in schools, 107, representing close to 80% of all our schools in Singapore. We've reached over 12,000 students, close to 400 teachers attending, and we hope this will again serve as a foundation for 2023. In terms of artworks and entries received, we have essay and design competition. Altogether, we received close to over 4,200 entries received. So these entries are actually done by students and general public who had spent time to research, pore over information, and craft their own essays. And so we can be assured that these 4,200 people have thought deeply about organ donation. And this is, we think, what really matters at the end of the day. These 4,000 people are the ones who will be our ambassadors moving forward, right? So we get the students to reflect as well, to give us feedback, and this is a secondary 1 student, a 13-year-old, 12 to 13-year-old, who can say that it's a meaningful session, and they learned to be willing to make sacrifices, even with the risk of hospitalization, for example, coming from a young student. And a Sec 4 student, 16-year-old, says that he wants to bring awareness to people around me who might see organ donation in a negative light. So these students, after hearing our talk, after participating in competition, wants to go and dispel myths, right? So this is actually the impact. I'm not just impacting one student, but this student goes on to impact others, right? So, and not just the students, the teachers, when they're observing the students, they saw that the students research and learn how to do the image manipulation independently, and it becomes a meaningful artwork with purpose, right? And lastly, this teacher reinforces the thought of, you know, how organ donation itself can be a tool to apply what they've learned in biology classes. And then the students learn how in practically, you know, how the students, patients on dialysis suffer a lot more than we realize. So we are bringing the problem to the students by telling them, you know, these are the dialysis patients, they have gone through and suffered so much, and this is one way where organ transplant can help them, right? So I will just end off with this, that, you know, we realize and that it really takes a village to raise a child. All of us here who are attending, we need to jointly raise a child or raise children, and actually the commitment that comes from us should be nothing less. And if you're interested to look at the pictures, some of the artworks, you can actually, so these are done by some of our students over the past years, you can actually scan this QR code to view all the past winning artworks. Yep, I think that's all from me for now. I pass back to Dale.
Ben, that is just amazing. I'm just sort of overwhelmed by the professional engagement with the schools, because it's not just an art competition, it's just an excuse to do that. And you know, there are roving art competition in hospitals where the art moves around to showcase. I could just see that working so well. That is fantastic. We're going to go and ask Hemal to come and share what she's doing and with the MOHAN Foundation and other work with the art competitions. And this is just seeding our imagination and ability to sort of drive things forward. So over to you if you just need to, I think, launch your...
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Can you hear
that
me?
looks perfect. Yep. I'll close off. You go.
Okay. Thank you, Dale, for this opportunity. And I have been, part of listening to some of the webinars that you have conducted, and it's really very engaging and very educational. Thank you for this Commonwealth project. A little bit about our work. We have been using metro stations to create artwork, and we use this artwork in other activities also. So one of the traditional art forms that South India really has is called as Rangoli or Kolam. It's like a street art. And it is usually traditional used is rice flour, but now colored flowers, colored powders are used to create designs which are usually used in traditional customs of festivals and celebrations. So the theme is Aryad Korangal, and it is actually used to create awareness on organ donation and to celebrate the act of giving life. So all information about our art festival is done online as well as through emails, through all the links that we have developed in Chennai. This is basically a Chennai-based program. So we've done 4 years of this art festival. It is always linked to some sort of festival which is linked with Tamil culture, whether it is the festival of harvest, festival, whether it is World Kidney Day, whether it is Tamil New Year or Diwali. These days we conduct these programs, and you can see the award-winning artwork done on the street floors. This is just on a street floor that we do. It is it is open to everybody, and there's no restriction. We just have a student category and adult category right now. And lovely designs, lovely thought processes go into this. So this is our, as everybody was mentioning that during COVID, we also went online and we had an online competition. The best part was that a lot of people from all over India participated in this competition. We nearly had more than 250 participants in this online project. So these are some of the activities that we did. And so they had to come online after we shortlisted them, and they had to say what they were doing to a panel of judges. So for every artwork, because it was online, they had to give us 3 pictures or short 30-second video of the way they developed the Rangoli. This is the prize-winning designs over this side. So this is how it looks, Usually metro stations have a lot of footfalls. A lot of people come through it, and they have big spaces as car parks, and we use those spaces. We've been very lucky that the metro station has agreed to sort of partner with MOHAN Foundation to conduct these programs. And we need a good quality judges for this, somebody who's subject matter expert, somebody who is, artist, and somebody who can always sort of provide some more inputs to the art that the students have created. So we have these type of judges going on. The size and the time duration is also important. Size should be, 3 by 3 feet, and duration 1.5 hours to 2 hours is enough. But as a precaution, you always have to give an hour for the judges to judge the competitions, because a lot of thought process go into these designs, and the artist has to be able to deliver that whole thing very properly to the judges. So you have to give time. Sometimes the judges, in my experience, say that it's very short time for us to judge. So that is how we need to give more time. And interesting gifts and prizes have to be given. Gifts have to be given to everybody who does participate, because that generates a feel-good factor in our competition. Sometimes the guest of honor need not be a government official. Sometimes they get inspired by just people who have received an organ. So we invited Mrs. Lingaselvi, who had got double hand transplant. And she was so inspiring, the way she spoke in Tamil to all the people who had come there and done the Rangoli, that they still remember after 3 years, they still remember, is she coming? This is what they asked, So getting a person to give away the gifts is also something that you should think, because they have spent 3-4 hours doing the artwork. They have spent time reading up, and also something more than just a prize, but something that they can take back with this. This time we had a double kidney transplant recipient coming, that he was also very, very effective in generating a lot of buzz about organ donation. And this is something that has been done on the entrance of a public hospital during organ donation. So thank you all for the listening, and any questions, anything we would like to take. I really like the idea of Singapore's art festival. It's amazing work done by them.
Oh, that is just stunning. I love the street art and how colorful it can be. But what's really struck me. I'll just ask Ben and Hemal a question of, it's like taking it's not a passive thing of waiting people to bring their art to you. You've really gone out to the schools, to the hospitals, to the community. Ben, any thoughts about how about that?
Yeah, I think we recognize that the challenge is there to get people to spontaneously bring up the topic of organ donation. And we know it's important, but people just don't. So we really have to craft, and we thought that art competition itself is something that unites people. People can see at one glance from far. You look at the Pongal draw, it's so attractive visually. It's a masterpiece, right? So when you look at it from far, you're visually attracted to it, and then you can just think about it. What's the intention behind it? What's this thing all about? And I think that's what we're trying to do here in Singapore as well. The people draw, the students draw, but we also have the people, the passers-by, who get engaged as well.
Yeah,
that's very good. Hemal, do you want to?
Yeah, because when we did it in the car parks of metro stations, we had boards outside the metro station that for 2 days this art festival is going on. Whenever whoever is walking through and not going to come to the car park, please visit the car park. And we had people coming over, near 200 people came after the festival to just see what was there. So it does help out, but we need to publicize a lot, and we have to take it to them in their own language. Especially for India, we are very much vernacular and local cultural specific ways. You have to get them to come to the event.
No, that's just totally brilliant. I can sort of see what I'd love to do is I'm going to take out after this, I'm going to divide up the art competition out of this video, a live footage, and just have a little the two of you just sharing your ideas, so we can pass it around the Commonwealth, and I'm going to pass it around the UK because it's such an inspiring aspect. But I do hope that we can sort of, everyone can be running a little art, their own art competitions in their nations, and then we can take some of the best pictures and make it a Commonwealth wide, and it'll be small to start with, just like all this project has been, but we can build and build, and then we really have that community. Thank you both for sharing that up. Wonderful.
Could I say something? Just
yes,
one thing, that Tamil 14th or 15th of April is Tamil New Year. So if there are Tamil diaspora in your countries, you could just attract them with some sort of Rangoli competition, because that's what they do a lot of Rangoli outside their houses.
Oh no, yeah, a brilliant idea. Use those sort of established ceremonies and opportunities. No, wonderful.